in the right place, okay? I hopefully you'll find yourself at the end of the lesson. You know, just reading your self-description from the meetup, most of you mentioned that you want to make your life more meaningful. Now, deep down in your heart, we all know there has to be more to life than just everyday business. There has to be more to life than what we are experiencing, what we are doing now. I think that Joyce Lee has a website on Live Life Fully. I think we all want to live life fully, whether you are 70 or 20. So I don't have all the answers. Okay? I don't have all the answers to the mystery of life and to how to live the best life. But I can tell you this, okay? That if somebody tell you that you do this and do that, give you simple answers, quick solutions, most likely they are charlatans. You know, more like the charlatans, because nobody have easy answer to all the questions. But I can tell you this, okay? I say, based on my more than 30 years of research and practice, I've come to the conclusion that a meaning-centered approach holds the most promise to answer your questions, your concerns. Okay? So now, if you stay with me and do all the exercise, and every meetup, and I can guarantee you that you'll be a better person. Okay? The problem is that very few people stay with me week after week. Okay, they only feel. Okay, some people just drop in and say, "Well, what's curiosity? You're curious, right?" Yeah. Curiosity. Okay, find out what this group are about, and then they stop coming for a while and then drop in again. So that's not the best way to. Because I'm inviting you to embark on a journey of discovery, of learning. So you will stay with me throughout the journey. At the end, you know, you'll be rewarded richly. Okay, so this is my invitation. So today the topic is know yourself. Okay. Long time ago, Socrates said, "Know yourself." Now this is not only the most important philosophical question, but the most important psychological question. Now, how does it apply to psychology? How does it apply to the psychology of meaningful living? Now, as we go forward, we'll see that know yourself is related to all aspects of well-being, all aspects of mental health. Okay, we will find out pretty soon. The first concept we want to get across is that life is a process of self-discovery. In order to know what you're meant to become, you have to know who you are. In order to know your direction, you have to know what you want. I mean, it's logical, right? Another thing is that every person must choose his or her pathway. Nobody can decide for you. If you want to live a life that's fulfilling, you have to live the life that you want. You have to be an authentic you. Right? Doesn't matter what your parents say or teachers say. I mean, it's not an easy task, okay? To find your own way. Now, some people still feel a bit lost, but don't despair, because as long as you're seeking, you shall find. Right? It's a matter of seeking. The second aspect about life is that life is a healing journey. Now, this book is it's a biography of Jean Vanier. How many people know about him? He's a very famous person. Now, the title is From Brokenness to Wholeness. Now, do you recognize that inside all of us, there's some broken pieces? Some broken pieces. There's always something in us that needs to be fixed. There's something broken. There's no one is perfect. Now you can say, oh, I don't want to look at the broken part. I just want to look at the positive part. But that doesn't help you. My two older brothers, both of them died from cancer. Okay? From cancer. You know why? Both of them would not listen to the doctor, would not believe in the doctor that something wrong with them, that they have cancer. Oh, I'm so healthy. Well, I don't believe in nonsense. Nobody has cancer. They don't pay no attention that there's something deeply wrong inside the body. The cancer cell is multiplying. Same thing in psychology. Now, if you refuse to accept the fact that something inside you is not quite right, you have a problem with relationship. You have a problem in your work. You have a problem with yourself. So if you recognize your brokenness, then you'll start the journey of healing. Right? The healing will continue. Even now, doesn't matter where you are, the healing journey continues. From brokenness to wholeness is a lifetime journey. Okay. Okay. Now the other thing, no, you're going to. Okay. Finally, she's an IT person. I depend on her to do my IT thing. So I wouldn't know how to talk. Okay. Now, the other part about life is about growing. And in psychology, in lifespan psychology, I don't know whether Anna has taken that already. Now, the thinking is that in old days, when you study developmental psychology, is that what? Is that child psychology, and stop at adolescence. But nowadays, they talk about lifespan developmental psychology. They cover the whole lifespan, from childhood, from babyhood, to very, very old age. Now, here's the trick. Name one area that you continue to grow. That you continue to grow until you drop dead. Okay? We know that physically we are downhill after 30. I think most of you are downhill, right? And the first goal is hearing and eyesight. After 30, start decline.
Self-knowledge.
Age.
No, self-knowledge.
Self-knowledge and wisdom and spirituality. You can continue to grow in wisdom, in spirituality, know more about God, know about the spiritual side about yourself. And also, we grow from self-centeredness to self-transcendence. Now, I don't hear that mentioned very often. When you're young, as children are known to be what? Egotistic, egocentric. The whole world revolves around them. Their demands must be made. If their demands not made, they scream help, okay? They cry. Okay? So children are very egocentric. Okay? That's what we learn in child psychology, right? But as you grow older, some people remain self-centered. The most miserable people on earth are those who never grew up. Now, don't marry one self-centered person. They're the most miserable people. All the cases, my need, my happiness. Your need is not important. Okay? Me and myself. But if you really want to achieve maturity, psychologically mature, become a wise person, you become more caring for other people, right? All the great people have learned one truth. All the great people from history all the way down, they all come to one conclusion, that if you want to really live your life, live a useful life, live a worthy life, you have to step out of yourself to serve other people, to love other people.
Are geniuses self-centered, and if they are, wouldn't that be a good thing? The famous artists or the scientists, people who might have a cure potential, they're very focused, and they may not care about anybody else. Is that really a negative?
Yeah, not really, because the vision has to be bigger than themselves, right? I want to find a cure for cancer for all people, right? Van Gogh, he said, I want to create people. I want to capture the beauty in nature for all people.
But
Okay?
Steve Jobs, they say, Steve Jobs is probably not a nice person to work for.
Who?
Steve Jobs of Apple.
Oh yeah, not how big deal. Personality, yeah, some genius are not good worker, but their great achievement is really motivated by a vision of serving. Okay, so personality, sometimes it can be difficult to work with, but the life is worthwhile because they're dedicated to a vision of serving many people. Now, what I'm talking about? So you derail me a little bit. Okay.
Transcendence.
The most spiritual people are self-centered people. Okay, that's the truth. Okay, Steve Jobs is not a happy person. Okay.
Not anymore.
So by the way, when people say, "Oh, Mother Teresa is not a very happy person," it doesn't matter. Well, she's not happy. Now the people say, "Oh, happiness." The great people, Lincoln is not a happy person. He suffered depression and sorrow. I just sick in my stomach every talk about happiness. Life is not about happiness. Life is about bring happiness to other people. That's why I say that my way of thinking is that to grow, to be mature is from self-centeredness to self-centeredness, not from self-centeredness to more self-centeredness. That's a recipe for misery. Okay? So that. And here the other thing is about life is a process of growing wisdom. Well, I mentioned that already. Aristotle say, knowing yourself is the beginning of wisdom. You don't learn wisdom at school, do you? I call that Aristotle say, to be truly happy, to be really, he called that eudaimonia. To really achieve eudaimonia is to have practical wisdom. Practical wisdom, I call that life intelligence. Know what's right, what's wrong, know when to quit, when to hang on, when to say goodbye, when to cling to the person. Everything requires practical wisdom. I'm still learning. There's no end. Okay? So life is a journey of learning how to be wise. That's a lifelong process. So conclude, from a meaning point of view, it's a process of self-discovery, it's a healing journey, it's a spiritual journey, it's a process of growing in wisdom. So we are embarking on a journey to learn all four areas.